Was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to episode 87. And on this episode, of course, we got a lot to talk about. I'm still in my bag about clarity, so we're going to talk about imagination. We're going to talk about imposter syndrome and selling, the problems, the ups and downs about that, the struggles of a creator, and can you be a creator and a CEO at the same time? Moose, how are we feeling about this episode?
This one is good. This one has good balance to it. Really focus on both the creative side and the entrepreneurship and business side of it. So yeah, those tend to be my favorites. So I'm excited for it. Let's get it.
I tried over here. Anyways, let's get into this intro.
Two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
And as always, shout out to all our audio listeners, our viewer people. I was going to say viewerships. I don't know if that's the right word, but it sounded great, right? Shout out to y'all. But first and foremost, this would not be possible without E-Camm Live, all right? The all-in-one live stream and video production. Low-key, the secret weapon for remote podcasts. This is how we're able to get the audio, do the video with barely any type of editing. So shout out to E-Camm Live. Moose, how are we feeling?
Man, feeling pretty good. It's been a great week. I'm excited for this one. We're continuing to edge closer to 100. So it's only getting better. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Where are you located? You look. This looks like a different background, sir. For our audio listeners, I'm not seeing a city vibe. It looks very warm and comforty. What's up?
Yeah. No, it's not my normal setup. I've been away. So actually, I went from the men's conference last week straight to Florida. And we did a couple pit stops in Florida. And then we're celebrating our 1-year anniversary, actually. We just made today. Well, the day that we're recording this, we're celebrating a year in marriage, which has been incredible. Shout out to my wonderful wife, Rebelsi.
Wish we had an aw.
Thanks.
I need an aw.
Thanks.
I think I have an aw.
Yeah, no, but I so it was kind of crazy. I came back from Florida. We took the same flight to New York, dropped her off in New York, and then I continued into DC. So I'm in DC right now. I got some meetings that I'm knocking out tomorrow with a client. So I'll be here before I head back home tomorrow night. Oh. So got to do the remote podcast, double remote, because we're already remote, but this is a double remote because I'm not at my usual home base. So yeah. I'm praying this holds up light.
Oh, it will. It will.
Yeah.
Shout out to the 1-year anniversary. AKA the year anniversary of where I wasn't invited to the wedding. So
that's gonna be a yearly thing. Every year we're gonna talk about that. Every year we're gonna talk about that part too.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a year since that mistake. It's okay. It's all right. All right. But let's get into this episode. First and foremost, I'm still on this whole journey of clarity and not experimenting, but coming in tune with imagination and like new ideas and things like that. And of course, I saw something that I wanted to talk about. Shout out to EYL. Shout out to Steve Harvey. Yeah, we just Isaiah just put just like EYL again or something, right? But they, of course, did such a dope. I wish I could go over that interview like every single time, because that interview with Steve Harvey was so fire. But he said such a bar about imagination that I wanted to talk about, that I feel that as creators and entrepreneurs, we need to tap in a little bit more. At least for me. I don't know about everybody, but I feel like it could help at least one other person. So let's listen.
Albert Einstein had a quote. He said, imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attraction. It's like when you go to a movie and you get your popcorn and you sit down. Before the movie starts, what do they show you? Preview. They show you preview of what? A coming attraction. Have you ever seen a preview and then the movie ain't come out? Nah, bro. Once you see the preview, it's finna be a movie. You believe that. And that's how the imagination works in your life.
So here's my thing, right? I think we don't put, I'm not going to speak for everybody. I'm going to speak for me. I don't put that much emphasis on my imagination. Like, I put emphasis on ideas, but not my imagination. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I see a lot of things. I mean, the natural creator that I am, and when I listened to that, I was more like, everything happens for a reason. Even our imaginations. But I think as growing up, it was always put as something that doesn't really exist. It's like, oh, it's just your imagination. This is just your imagination. This, like, it's always downplayed. So I put more emphasis on ideas rather than just the totality of imagination. And when he said that, I was like, going back to everything happens for a reason, even the things that appear in your mind, regardless if other people could see it or not. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Then, of course, he said Albert Einstein, you can't even go wrong with,
Automatically becomes deep when he mentions
Yeah, like he could have said that, but then...
Right.
Right. Yeah. Albert Einstein said it. So
official now.
Oh yeah.
It's official.
Oh
now.
yeah. But like, I think my question is, how do we like extract that downplaying that we've gotten growing up and putting more power to the imagination than as we're older? Because we could get away with so much. Like, people come up with imaginary friends and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Who's not to say they're just not speaking a certain friend into existence? Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to get too deep. That could have went there, but I'm not trying to, right? But like, it was always like, oh, that's your imagination. But how do we extract that? How do we give more power to it?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I think as we get older, we just tend to conform. We follow these rules that somebody made up without any good reason. We just say, "Oh, okay, that's the way it's got to be," and you just follow it. And you don't know if it's if it's of any benefit to you, if it can help you, if it can hurt you on your path. You just do it because other people are doing it. But the way to break out of it is you got to start breaking those rules. Like, go against the grain. Push yourself to do things that you normally wouldn't do. Because like, even when you talk about this idea of like abundance, right? Like, and I think of imagination as abundance, right? And we were literally in the beach today, and of course, as a New Yorker, when you see your feet in water, you're like, whoa, this is different. Like, you don't go to beaches in New York and see nothing of your body in the water.
Right, right.
You're in New York, you're like, okay, I guess I'm in the water. But Florida was a cool vibe. Like, you actually got to see your feet, whatever. So we were talking while we were in the water, and then Like you can look up and the water runs forever. You look into the sky, clear blue skies, they run forever. And it's like, the creator created things in abundance and created us in that same format. So where does this concept of limitation or there isn't enough to go around for everybody and for my desires, where does that come from? It comes from conforming. It comes from us following these rules that mean nothing, that we've put value on and said, it's got to be this way. So I think the more that we challenge ourselves and we surround ourselves with others who are constantly looking to go against the grain and just do things a little bit differently, the more that we'll see that it's okay. And more importantly, that it's entirely possible to create things that you don't yet see and allow them to come into your life that way.
Yeah. And it goes along with the book I was reading, The 4 Agreements. I think that's what it's called. The 4 Agreements, right?
Yeah.
When you said that, like, it instantly makes me think of like I think the first thing they said was like, everything's a dream. When you're up, it's a dream. And when you're asleep, it's a dream, right? It's just that as we grow up, they like compared us to like dogs. Like we get domesticated like animals, right?
Wow.
To think certain ways and to do certain things. And so we were trained that, our imaginations, our dreams aren't necessarily real, right? But if we could clear all thoughts of that and strip it away, then true freedom comes in. I sound very deep. I don't mean to sound this. This is Moose kind of talk. I don't even do this.
This I swear to you, and this is why I always say, like, I don't intend to be deep, but this is why this entrepreneurship creative journey is more of an inside job than it is an outside job. Like all the technical stuff, like, it's important, but without this part right here, without the stuff between your two ears, like operating right and you thinking and really being able to process correctly about just your own thoughts, your emotions, your desires, without that, none of that stuff manifests or unfolds. So I don't ever think it's deep, but I just think it confirms why we keep circling back to these points and saying, this is the stuff that really matters. You get down this part, the rest of the stuff is actually a lot easier than you think.
This is a fact. But going along with, downplaying certain things and downplaying how good we are, our imagination, everything like that. I was watching an interview of Lewis Howes and Van Lathan, right? And he says something so deep about a topic we don't really talk about, which is imposter syndrome. So let's go listen to this.
What I doubt is that I belong here.
Belong where?
Where I'm at. I don't see anything special about myself. Looking at TMZ, Kanye West comes into the room. Me and Kanye have this moment, right?
And then all of a sudden
things change.
Take off.
Boom.
And you were at TMZ for how long at that point?
7 years. You know what I think about? I think about what happens if Kanye never walks into the room.
Where would you be?
Yeah. Everyone then sort of goes, hey, this guy's talented, this, and I get a chance to display all of these things to different people. I meet great
After
people.
7 years
After 7 years of doing basically the same thing every day and putting on every day and proving myself there, one moment changes it. And I think to myself, if that never happens, then what happens to me? Like, what if? Like, what is really inside of me that makes me think that I should be telling people anything? I think imposter syndrome is sometimes something that a lot of people have to kind of get through.
Yeah, it's so crazy, man. I think it's one of those battles that a lot of us go through because, and again, talking about conformity, seeing what success looks like online, a lot of us feel that the only way to be successful is to be in a position where we have to teach, lead, and be owners of some sort, right? So there is a little bit of pressure that comes with it because you're saying, well, I want to be successful. And if that's what success looks like, then I guess I got to do that. But you can go almost against what you really feel is right or what is really you. And there's some friction along the path. You're like, why am I here? For some people, it works out simply because of a variety of different reasons. You might have been an early adapter on a platform, got tremendous opportunity, and people were willing to listen to you. You might actually be pretty skilled or charismatic, and people gravitated to your intelligence and your wit or your style or whatever it may be, and you got the attention that you wanted. But the interesting thing is, I'm actually in a season in my life now where I am, and take this with a grain of salt, right? Because I'm not saying that I'm on this stratosphere of a limelight, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to be famous. Like, I don't know that I want to be known like that, because I'm becoming more in tune with the things that come with the fame. And that's the part that I realize is really not for everybody. So could it be imposter syndrome? It could be, but I don't think it is, because it has a level of intelligence around the things that come with it. So yeah, we'll always talk ourselves down. Many of us will, especially. But I do think a big part of it is because we're seeing that today success means I'm in a position to teach somebody or tell them how to live a certain way, which is not always the case. Like, I don't think you need to be in those positions to be successful or to be considered successful.
I can see where you're going with that. And it's cool because I actually tweeted something today similar to, it's like, I don't want to be where everyone is, like chilling with everybody. I don't want to be outside, but I want to be respected everywhere. So I don't want to be everywhere, but I want to be respected everywhere, right? So, and I mean, there's multiple reasons for that, but I feel that the respect, and of me, you just don't always see me, I think it has a better feeling. Now, I have no problem people knowing of me, me being outside too much, not all the time, but here and there, I don't mind that, right? I think with this particular clip, it's a thing that a lot of people actually go through. And he even states it, like, I don't find myself special. And I'm very aware that imposter syndrome is a situation, but I also believe that it is definitely a confidence thing. Like, of just whether it is something that you're not confident in somewhere else. Maybe you're very confident in your craft, but there's something else that's happening that almost makes you doubt yourself of how good you could speak, or your perspective matters, or because something else outside of that may be a little lacking, right? Whatever it is, that's my opinion. And those people who think that are great at what they do. And we value their perspective. We value their point of view. And they're like, nah, it's not that deep. And I think it's above, because, some people be like, oh, it's being humble. No, I think it's above being, I think they honestly feel, I'm not that deep, dog. Like, how am I getting this success? Maybe, and then they start comparing over this person. Why would people, but I always go back to, everybody has an audience. Like, your voice is needed to certain individuals or group of people or culture. Like, it's needed. It may not be for everybody, but it's needed. And we have to step more into that. Like, I'll take this podcast for example. It's not for everybody. Everybody's gonna rock with it, you know? Some people be like, who in the world are these two people, right? Cool. I'm expecting that. Some people may not like the way I speak, the way Moose speaks. I'm okay with that. But somebody does. And that doesn't lower my value or lower the perspective that I have just because these people don't like it, right? Or it's not accepted over here. Like, I think we all have certain crafts, certain voices, certain skills for a reason, and we just got to step more into it. But it is a struggle when you have exposure to a lot of things. That's where I feel the imposter syndrome comes into it. And I think we hear more and more about it because of how much we're exposed to everybody. So we see what this person's doing, what that person's doing, and then you're looking at yourself like, hold on. Like he said, I've been here 7 years. But if this didn't happen, where would I be? He probably still have a whole destiny of blowing up. It may not have been at that moment, but if the Kanye situation didn't happen, it was bound to happen, right? And I don't like, and not saying on him per se, but I don't like how when certain events happen, we do that. Because I've been on that too. Like, yo, if I never met this person, if I never did this, like, where would there be a me? Would there be? Yes, there would. Yes, there would. It's just a timing situation. So, like, I like understand, but I don't like the imposter syndrome because it's we are worth something, we're valued to other people, and it's more of like we have to see that. It's a self issue. And I wouldn't know the first step except for acceptance to even battle that. You feel what I'm saying? Like, because it's going to happen countless of times, especially for, for entrepreneurs and creators. It's going to happen because you see other people in different levels and you're like, okay, I may be a 10, but so-and-so is a 20, so this seems never ending. How do I have this and they have this? They've been in it for 15 years. I've been in it for 7. Like, everything happens for a reason. We got to be okay with it. We got to be like accepting of it. And once that happens, then everything that we're supposed to have unravels. But we get caught up in our feelings. And I get it because I've done it too. I've absolutely done it too. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's crazy because I feel like it's the people who shouldn't worry about imposter syndrome are the ones who feel it the most. It's like, because imposter syndrome to some extent is you feeling like you're a fraud, right? You're like, man, I kind of feel that I don't deserve to be here to some extent because maybe I don't have the highest level of credibility or experience or whatever it may be. But the fact that you're even thinking about it means that you have enough integrity to care about those things. So you probably shouldn't have to worry about it. But the ones who probably have to worry about it are the ones who are just like, yo, I don't care about that. And so they don't suffer from it. So I think in short, man, if you're struggling with it, because it is a real thing, I think both Nick and I have kind of dealt with it at different stages or to different degrees. If you're even considering it, that should let you know that you're not the problem. Like, you're not the issue that is creating the bigger problem at large, whatever it is that you're concerned about. If you're thinking about it, you're not the problem.
Oh, that's facts. And it goes towards just doubting a lot of things in us. Almost to say, like, yo, I don't like it. Just to downplay that we don't even think that we can do it, right? So a great example is, how people feel about selling. There's a few people that's like, I don't like selling. I don't like doing that.
I was one of them.
Yeah, no, there's a certain part of selling that I don't like, right? I could sell clouds. I've done it. Sold clouds, right? But is it my favorite thing? No, it's not my favorite thing. But after listening to this clip, it makes sense that there's such a bar to it. You're going to hear it, but just listen.
I hate selling.
You always
having to sell
But that's the problem right there, what you just said.
Tell me.
You just played a clip that said thoughts become things.
True that.
So the thing is, that's not your fact. You hate selling. You're right. You hate it. So that becomes your truth.
But I could change that. I hate talking about myself. I hate feeling like I'm
now,
like
selling yourself is different from selling. Like I don't like selling myself. That's like a cheap lawyer. Like I'd rather have somebody else talk about my characteristics than me going in the room and telling somebody, oh, I did this, I'm this. It just sounds like you full of yourself as opposed to somebody else telling your story. Now it sounds like you're a great person.
So that goes right with the imposter syndrome, because if we say, I don't like this, I don't do this, then what he said was like, because we said it, now it's fact. Mm-hmm. Like now we truly believe it, even if it's not true. Like 9 out of 10 times is not true. It's not that we don't like selling, not that we don't think we're good or we should be in these positions or anything, but because we said it, now it's fact. Right now, of course we don't like selling. Now we don't feel like we should be in the room, right? Because now it's fact. But the second part to it of like selling versus selling yourself, the thing that I got out of it was, if you don't like doing that, find somebody else. Like, granted, depending on which salesperson you talk to, it's like everything we say is selling, right? But there are people who do struggle speaking about themselves for maybe even the same reason we've been talking about, which is imposter syndrome. Maybe they can't see it. That's fine. There's other people who see it. There's other people who understand the goal, right? Either you find the person that thinks the world of you within your team, or the person that understands the goal that I have to say these certain points in a very persuasive way in order to make the sale, in order to get the deal. Either way, get another person. That's perfectly fine. People do it all the time. Until, if ever, you feel comfortable doing it yourself. But this is why we have people who have sales teams and who, have somebody who introduces them and things like that, because we don't have to do it. We can give up our limitations. We could give up our weaknesses to other people in order to make us strong, in order to make the business and the brand strong. That's fine. But the first part of that is what really hit me. It's like, once again, understanding the power of words, and me saying, I just can't stand this way. Even for people who've been hearing us, the whole funnel conversation, hate funnels, right? No, don't like them. Now I'm saying it so much to the point where even if it wasn't a fact, it's now a fact.
That's right.
And until I get more facts to get out of this imaginary fact that I created, it's a circle. So it's like, understand some of the words that we're saying, we're making it now facts into our life, circling back to the imposter syndrome. And then if we don't like selling, if we don't like even talking about ourselves, find somebody else.
Yeah. And just know that it's better received actually when you have someone who can talk on your behalf. Because I do believe that, right? There's a fine line between selling, as you mentioned, possibly being persuasive about an idea or something that you think somebody else should acquire or pay you for, right? Whatever, it's an exchange. But there's that other part where it almost comes off as being overly self-centered. You're pumping up your accomplishments so much that people start to lose sight of, okay, is it you who's awesome, or is it your product or service that's incredible? I'm almost starting to lose track of what's the real value here. So I do think that when you have someone or even a group of people who can advocate for you, like think about how sometimes things happen, how we've gotten some guests on the podcast. Hey, y'all, clip this up. Hey, Maul, we want you on the podcast. And then the comments start going out, and it's like we have people who can advocate on our behalf, where Maul's like, dang, okay, I'm gonna go on a podcast. I think I need to be there, right? It's the same exact thing. It's choosing a different method to sell other than one where we feel we have to stand up and overly convince you that we're worthy of you being on the show or something like that. So I think it's the same thing, but just know that there's a fine line between you convincing someone of value that you have to offer or deliver versus you pumping yourself up that can possibly make people lose sight of, okay, what's in it? And usually it's a turnoff. I think a lot of people are typically turned off by it because they're like, I'm probably not that good if you got to speak about it that much.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. But just find you a hype man or woman. I think that would be dope. Everybody should have one. I'm just saying. Kurt is mine. Shout out to Kurt. Shout out to Kurt. My man will talk me up, and I'm like, I don't even know that about me. Hello.
Right.
That's crazy.
How'd you know that?
Right. Like my mom knows this. You talk to my mom. Mm-hmm. Shout out to mom. Hello. But yeah, it's such an important conversation between the two of them that I think we'll go over it again probably in other episodes. But it's just like why can't we think the best for us? Mm-hmm. I mean, like, why are we our worst critics? Why did we make that a common statement? Oh, I'm my worst critic. And everybody's like, yeah, I'm my worst critic. Like, why is this a thing? We should not. We should be our biggest fans, right? If there isn't anybody else in the world, we ourselves are our biggest fans. We should not always find something wrong with what we do. This is me.
Yeah.
This is me.
Yeah.
But switching into creator vibes, right? Fire interview that I saw from United Masters SelectCon with Issa Rae. And the conversation of what's the balance between creator and CEO? What is the balance for her? She's made millions, has shows, has coffee shops, all this, like, she's amazing. But how do you do both? And I was locked in. And so let's talk about it.
How do you balance being a creative and a CEO?
I hire well. That's how I balance it, honestly. And I trust who I hire. I don't think that it's possible to be a CEO, a great CEO and a great creative. I'm just gonna say that. I think that you need help, and you need to, that balance that you achieve is in the people that you trust. Because I realize, like, for me, I have to be able to focus on one to be great, and both are full-time jobs. I have looked up in 1 year and realized, oh my gosh, I've only done business and I have not created anything new, and that makes me feel bad.
Yeah, I love both of the answers, right? It's almost like a two-parted answer. Hire well and trust those who you hire. So we've covered the hire piece. We've talked about it. it's a nice reminder though that you're not the only one who's trying to do something great. So there are people out there who, if you have the vision, they would love to be a part of it and contribute to something great, because not everyone can build something great, but everyone wants to be a part of something great. And that is an absolute fact, right? People, as they mature, as they get older, they put some experience under their belt, they start to recognize, and they don't necessarily feel so bad, or they don't look at it as, oh, an insecurity or a weakness because I'm not the builder. It's like, well, maybe you're not the builder, but you're a phenomenal painter. And that's a wonderful finishing touch to the building nonetheless. So you're a part of the building, but you didn't build the building. That's okay. Like, who cares? You didn't lay the first brick. Well, you put the finishing touch, and I think that's a wonderful work. Trusting the people you hire, though, that is something that I don't think enough people talk about. Because we even on the call that we had the other day where I was talking about, like, man, when you ice your best players for whatever reason, right, that makes your people think that you don't trust them. So if for whatever reason something happens and you got great people on your team, but you're not using them because you think that you might be bothering them, or you don't want to overwork them, or whatever it is, whatever assumption you might have made in your mind, it can start to create some challenges, because now those talented people, their attention and their energy can get pulled in a different direction. They can start to question their contributions, or should they even be in this position? So that part is important. It's just as important as getting them in the right place. It's like, give them the power. Be clear about, hey, I like where you're going, but I don't think you got what it takes to get us to that next level just yet. So this person is going to take the lead. And the wonderful thing that I like about that type of approach is there's no guessing game. It's like, oh, cool, Nick's got the lead on this one. All right, cool, Nick, what are we doing? Oh, okay, I got the lead on this one. Okay, Nick, so here's the plan. It's cool. It's like, I don't think anyone, especially, and that's what I'm saying, especially as we mature throughout the experience of business and just building something phenomenal, people curb their egos so that they can win. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. So yeah, I like that second piece. I think that's a critical element to it all. You got to trust those who you put in those positions, because it's like having a MJ on your team, but they're on a bench. It's like, makes no sense.
Oh, it's a fact. And I think that's the struggle with creators. Like, if you don't already have that really good sense of business, right, you're going to want to stay in the pocket of creating. And it is hard to trust with the CEO part. Like, it is hard to trust with the business part. And so you kind of lack on the business part because you're staying such in the creator vibe. So everything's flowers and grand and, oh my God, you create the greatest thing, but how is revenue coming in? How are we scaling? Are you scaling? Yeah. Or is it just you? Like, if it's just you, what is the model that you're doing that will allow you to bring money into your life? If not, crazy. But then even at the end, she was like, yo, I even get to a point where I'm doing so much business stuff. I didn't create anything all year. Me personally would have a problem with that. There'd be no way I can't, but I think once again, that's why I'm in my unique situation where I'm like, I'm understanding the balance of business and creator, but I'm still so much on the creator side that I haven't super locked in on the business side just yet, right? Hence why I'm going through my little journey and I understand this. But it's a struggle. It's a struggle. So you're telling me I got to concentrate on the business side, which when I got into this, I got into this because I'm a creator. And I understand I have to make a business of this, but my first part is a creator. And so to switch it, it's probably a hot and cold vibe. It's like, okay, if I go into business, I'm going into business. Like, but then I'm not creating, but then I go into creators. Like, there has to be, and I love how she said that, the way to do that is to hire well. And
yeah, it's a
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's definitely a domino cycle. Like it's one feeds the other. If you spend too much time in one bucket, you'll work yourself out of business. like you'll just run out. You know, like, and I think it's for whichever comes easier for you, you'll probably lean on that one a little bit more. Like I spent 2 years in the business, like, nah. And you'll come up with some very valid reasons why you can't do the other piece. It's like, no, it's just not my thing. I don't want to do it. I don't think it makes sense. Like, yeah, sure, it makes sense, but you need them. You need both.
No, that's a fact. But and we have an example of it. So Hit Boy, who is a major music producer for our hip hop fans, the producer of King Disease, Nas album that's won a Grammy, I think like twice or something, but don't quote me. No, definitely won. So they done King Disease 1, 2. He's done Nipsey. He's done Griselda. He's done Kanye. He's done it all right? But he said something that completely proves this whole creator struggle of the business side. So let's listen to it.
Keep it a million, like even on the business end, I see that I put on like producers, they signing producers, they got their business right, and I'm still literally, I mean, I know you was around way back and it was just kind of chaotic. I'm a lot more put together, but I still ain't got my business in a place where I fully want it to where I'm just signing. I don't have a situation structured to just sign producers. And that's ridiculous because I literally put on that signing producers and got their thing together. So, I don't know whether I'm so buried deep into the music that I gotta really focus on that business side, but that's just been a tough thing for me.
Yeah, legit, a real life example of what happens when you're overly focused on one side and this is something that you've said before plenty of times, man, that people who are not as good as you end up beating you just because they've tried it. Just because they've did it. They're like, oh, got it. Market responded, perfect timing. Chips were lined up, they capitalized, and you're like, wait a second, but I'm better.
Facts.
Yeah, but you did. But you ain't. I
started before you. Like I put you on. Like I literally, you are here because I introduced you to so-and-so. I told them about you. What are we talking about? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's like that's a real life example of what happens when you're too much on one side of the spectrum and you're not focused on the other. And this is not no shade to creatives or business people because it's literally the same thing. Like even if you're the business person, you need a creative or you need to create something to sell or to build business around. So on either end of the spectrum, you need both. And your passion or love for one is not a valid enough reason or excuse to stop you from doing the other.
Hurt somebody's feelings. That almost hurt mine. I think that almost low-key hurt mine.
She's like, damn, that was kind of actually me. That hurt me.
That's me. I'm not gonna even say low-key. That hurt my feelings. Okay, that's great. No. It's a struggle. I literally labeled that part creator struggle. It's a struggle because you see the success of your creations. You see the success and I mean, dude is getting Grammys. Dude is making millions. He's working with the best artists out there and on heavy demand. Everybody wants to do an album of some sort or a song or something with Hit Boy. So because you see the success of what you love so much, what you came into the game with, came into the industry with, holy crap, I got to think of an agency. That's for me. I got to think of an agency? You're bugging. Do you see what I do? What are we talking about? But then you see other situations. You're like, what? How? How did you go to that person? How did you go over that? Are you serious? And then it just makes you self-reflect like, yo, you don't got your stuff in order. You don't have your stuff in order, and you have to make the decision of, are you okay right here, right? Having the success you are, but it possibly not being able to scale because it's you doing it.
Sheesh.
So, yes, making money, success, having the relationships, it's great. It's so amazing. And then what? Because you didn't think of further than that part, something's going to happen eventually. Either you're going to look at it and be like, yo, they're passing me up, or how did they get this? I don't even have, like you said, I don't even have the structure for that to happen. I don't, people want to sign to me, and I don't even have the structure for that. What would that even look like? From a legal side, from a personnel side, how do I even cater to them? What does that look? I don't even know what that looks like, and I don't even have the time because I am making hits that are working. I'm doing things that are working, that are making me money, and I have relationships that are out of this world that people would die for.
Mm-hmm.
How do we fix that? I feel like I'm talking to me. This is horrible.
You got passionate about this one. I seen you.
Because it's true. It's like you get into the game wanting to do this, and then you understand there's other things you have to do to secure the bag. There's other things you have to do to make sure the name lasts longer, and you're not working for the rest of your life and things like that. But I don't think we instantly think like that when we get into this.
No, 100%.
And it's hard to do
sometimes,
that switch.
Yeah, sometimes the worst thing that can happen to you isn't failure. Sometimes it's success. Sometimes it's you actually...
Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's great. I'm telling you, these... And I love the podcast because I swear, it always extracts the lessons that are experienced in this season, the season prior to, is literally that. You can think that, man, imagine I start and I don't make it. Imagine I don't get the relationships, or it doesn't work out, or people are not willing to make the investment, or I don't have any customers or clients, or people don't believe in my voice, or whatever the case may be. But imagine they do. Imagine it works out. Imagine they buy in so much quicker than you anticipated, so much bigger than you were prepared for, that your credibility is almost on the line now because you weren't prepared for that level of growth. You were just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to see if I can get 2 sales. You got 200. You're like, whoa, hold up a second. The infrastructure ain't built for 200. We would have been cool on 10. We were really expecting 2, but 10 would have been okay. So in some cases, going back to your imagination, sometimes you got to imagine a little bit differently. It's not always failure that's the worst thing that can happen to you. Sometimes it's success, because there are different types of problems, real different problems come with success. Yeah.
White flag. I don't.
Pit stop.
Right.
Water.
Right.
I need water break.
Listen. We I don't even want to. We can end the podcast. We can if we can. But you got one more. I don't really want to do this one more, but we're gonna go one more. Sheesh.
For the listeners who need one more, we got you.
Yeah. No. So, Moose came up with this. Not came up with this. He came across. Not came up. Like he made the interview, but he came across an interview with Joe. We're gonna call him Joe B, but I'm probably gonna butcher this last name. Burrow, the QB of the Cincinnati Bengals, right? And for those people who don't even know sports, the quarterback of an NFL team. I realize we have different audiences, right? But we have always been known to celebrate our wins, right? Celebrate our wins. No matter how big or small, celebrate our wins. But could we celebrate our losses? So he got a lot of slack for after the Super Bowl. Yes, he went to the Super Bowl. For celebrating, for going out after that. And he did explain, so let's listen to that.
Kurt Warner said something in it. When he lost the Super Bowl, he regretted not celebrating what they had accomplished. Instead, and he did what you talked about. He went and sulked in a corner. And then after the game, I was like, yeah, it sucks. We just lost the Super Bowl, but we did something really cool. Yeah. And I wanted to celebrate with the guys about what we did for the year and all the success that we had, rather than, sit in a corner and sulk about the game we just lost.
This is really good. Okay. Mm-hmm. First off, I ain't mad at it. Like, you should celebrate you went to the Super Bowl. That is, every other team didn't. It's only 2 teams that went to the Super Bowl. You might as well celebrate it. And then you look at that, it's like, when we bring it back to like real life, because not all of us are, NFL players and go to Super Bowls, right? But we bring it back to real life, like, there are a lot of things that our family hasn't done. There's a lot of things that our friends haven't done. There's a lot of things within our age range that other people haven't done until they're older. And we're not looking at that because we constantly have this grind mode, or it's not, we didn't really succeed. We didn't get this goal. We didn't chill out. Like, hold on. You're doing amazing, and you might as well celebrate that. Okay, you went to this let's say this tournament, whatever it is in your industry. You went to this tournament, you're like top 5. Well, I'm not number 1. Well, you're top 5. What are you talking about? What are you doing, right? We have to make it more common to just celebrate. Not celebrate wins or losses or anything, just celebrate, just accomplishments. Like, looking at the positive of everything, every single thing. And that's hard because we live in such a negative society. So it doesn't, that somebody would look at the Super Bowl and the team that lost, like, oh my God, why would you go out? Yo, were you in the Super Bowl? Did you go?
Come on.
Did you not? You probably didn't even pay for a ticket. You couldn't afford it. What are you talking about? I'm going to celebrate. I'm going to go out, bring my team. We're going to celebrate because this was an amazing year, period. Nobody else came to the Super Bowl, had the record we have, beat the teams we did. Nobody else. Please sit down as we continue to celebrate. We need to do that just in regular life. Like, what, if, shout out to, he don't listen to the podcast, but I'll say it, right? Shout out to Philip Webb, right? He, ATM, he's the man in the ATM business, right?
Yeah.
And he wrote a book. And the crazy thing is, he downplayed it, right? And I think that's what happens in certain circles. It's like you do something that everybody else supposedly did, right? Yo, I'm like the last person to get to write a book. In what circle, sir? Like in the world, you're actually not the last, okay? You're actually a small percentage who actually did write a book. That is an amazing accomplishment. Not everybody has author underneath them. What are you talking about? You need to celebrate that you wrote the book. You need to celebrate that you wrote it in the amount of time that you did. There is somebody who said they're going to write a book and they haven't yet. So celebrate that you wrote a book. Celebrate that it's on Amazon. Celebrate all that. What are you talking about? And he's like, I never thought about that. No, the small circle of 40 people that you are in, that you follow, that wrote a book, and you may be the last of that 40, understand there's billions of people in the world.
So good.
Who never even thought about writing a book. And they should. Their stories need to be out there. Their craft, their expertise needs to be written out for people to read. You took the time to do that. You're special. Celebrate that. He's like, oh, you're right. Same thing with how people sell, right? Oh man, I only get 2-3 customers a month. How much is your course? 1,000. How much were you selling before the course? What are we doing? Why are we saying that's not an accomplishment? That may not be up to your expectations or what you deem to be successful. It's still something. You would have never gotten that money, period, if you never created the course, if you never put it out there for sale. You would have never. That needs to be sold. Each client, customer, person that you impact, small milestones, big everything needs to be celebrated, regardless if you are at your end goal or not. Yes, there's still light at the end of the tunnel. Cool, right. But can we celebrate the little lamppost that we are passing as we get to the end of this tunnel? I'm just saying.
Yeah. And that's why, like, what I found interesting about the clip, and it's crazy because, like, the way we started the podcast today talking about conforming, like, my initial reaction was like, yo, that's crazy. Is this idea of not celebrating unless you were technically perfect, right? Because to win the Super Bowl means that you were perfect. Like, you won it all. You finished everything. You beat everybody else. You were perfect. You had a perfect season. You won the Super Bowl. So is that mentality of only celebrating if you won the Super Bowl an outdated mentality? Did we conform to an idea that isn't necessarily wise or doesn't logically process all of what we did to get to where we are? Especially when it's something that you can try again next season, next month, next week, tomorrow. Oh, I didn't get my sale a day today, or I didn't get the sale that I was aiming for today. Well, there is a tomorrow. We can celebrate the fact that you at least pitched yourself, and maybe before last week you weren't comfortable pitching yourself. You know, like, there's a lot of things that I think, as you mentioned, the fact that we're the first in our families to do so many things, when you look at how far you've come, honestly, sometimes celebrating is like putting gas in your own vehicle. It gives you just enough energy and momentum to say, yo, I'm going to come back and do it again. I'm going to try it again. Like, okay, it wasn't great, but heck, I did it. I was afraid to post content before. I gave up on posting content before. Like, I'm posting again. That's good. Celebrate that. Like, be prideful about it. I'm not posting 17 times a day. That's okay, but you posting once a week. You know, that's a great thing. It's better than giving up on it. So that's the part about it that really kind of caught my attention, was just because it's how it's always been done doesn't mean that that's the only way to do it. Just because people only celebrated when they won the Super Bowl doesn't mean that you could only celebrate if you won the Super Bowl. You got your own Super Bowl. There's different types of Super Bowls in your life that you can celebrate so you can get to the big game in your version. And that's why I'm telling everyone, look, I'm at a point in my life where I'm becoming more comfortable being just brutally honest about my experience. And I'm telling you that right now, I don't know that fame is the thing that I'm after. I'm after more effectiveness. I'm after more certainty and clarity around what I want and how I want to live my life. I'm after different types of things. If it brings a gazillion listeners, cool. We'll deal with that when we get there. If it brings 100 listeners, 1,000 listeners, no problem. That is totally fine. I'm not going to measure success by having hundreds and thousands of downloads and listeners and people tuned into our podcast. That's just not how I'm doing it. Right? It's like you can have your own definition of success and achieve it and be successful just as the guy who got 1 million views a day. That's totally possible for you. So that's the thing that I want. And I hope that every listener will take away from this part of it is like, yo, I can have my own definition. And regardless of the numbers, it can be just as impactful as the next guy or the next gal because it's yours.
Facts. Yeesh. Yeah, that was good. That was good. That's all I gotta say about that. That was good. Once again, this is powered by E-Camm. And if you want to try E-Camm for yourself, whether you're starting your podcast, whether you are recording your course or want to record content, or you like live streaming, go to www, whatever, however many W's, nickyandmoose.com/E-Camm, ECAMM, and try it out for 14 days for free on us. You know what I mean? And follow us everywhere at Nicky and Moose everywhere. Okay? Shout out to our YouTubers, our Instagrammers, our Facebookers, Twitter. Twitter's been rocking. You know what I mean? I don't know if you've noticed it. Twitter's been rocking.
I gotta jump back in. Jump back in.
Twitter's been rocking.
I haven't been getting Twitter notifications lately, so I gotta jump back in.
Yeah, shout out to people on Twitter. Follow us everywhere. Moose, final words.
Yeah, I think given the conversation today, man, I just want everyone who's listened to make sure that you're clear about the difference between imposter syndrome and not having enough experience. Because imposter syndrome, the definition literally says that you feel like you're a fraud, right? You question whether or not you're deserving of your accolades. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe you just haven't acquired enough experience to know how to do something efficiently. So just as you go on your journey, know the difference between imposter syndrome and having enough experience.